if we're being completely honest.
Here it comes.
At that time,
Here it comes.
we weren't deviating very far from who I was at the time.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to Unlikely Story, the filmmaking podcast. I am Chris Loafing.
And I am Travis Clough. We are your hosts and best friends. And we are here in studio.
We're best friends.
We're not friends.
We're best friends.
Oh, God.
That was from the original, too, with Tyler Smith. Remember
Tyler
that?
Smith, man.
Okay, so we have a special guest in studio with us, one of our favorite guys. He's done several things with us since the first thing that we've done together, which you may recognize him as one of the extraordinary leads from The Gallows. This is our actor, our friend, our supporter, basically a family member, Ryan Shoos.
How you doing, guys?
Ryan, thank you for
Welcome,
being
my
in
friend.
here with us.
Happy to be back.
Back in Fresno. You're home away from home.
It really is. It was my early 20s. All of it.
Yeah,
you
that's
say
crazy.
We've worked on one or two things together, but The Gallows was like working on 17 things.
It was because it was The Gallows and The Gallows because there were two versions, which you can watch both versions on the Blu-ray.
Shameless plug for the Blu-ray of Gallows.
Oh, the original's on there.
The original
Yeah.
is on the Blu-ray.
Yep.
That I filmed.
Right.
Yeah,
the whole movie. It's not just an alternate scene or an alternate ending.
Ryan
it's the
filmed
entire movie.
most of that version, like legitimately.
Yes.
With the camera in your hand.
I focused on everything.
Yeah.
We're going to get into some fun Gallows-related stories, some, unlocking the vault of Gallows days. But Ryan, we go way back, as we mentioned. And honestly, so far back in the sense that, like, some of our earliest filmmaking experiences, even including casting, as filmmakers, you were there. You're some of the first, you and Reese and Pfeiffer and some of the first people we ever cast in anything. We want to hear first, I think, how'd you get started? How did you get started as an actor?
Where did you come from?
Yeah.
And what was in your mind when you were like,
Well, I originated from Portland, Maine.
Portland, Maine?
Way far away as far as you can get from Los Angeles. And I just was always playing sports growing up and then watched a lot of Jim Carrey films. And
Nice.
Who didn't?
The
Nice.
Grinch
Who didn't?
especially.
Oh, really?
All about it. And I think I was downstairs watching the VHS for like the 45th time. And I was like, you know what? I can do this. I want to be a part of this whole thing. And Portland, Maine is not an acting hub or entertainment hub in any sense. But I decided to call up the one agency that was in Portland, Maine, and they said, we're not going to sign you yet, but here's an audition that you can go on. Went on the audition and booked it.
Oh,
And it was some, PSA.
You're like, this is easy.
Yeah, public.
No big deal.
Yeah, exactly. Just not knowing that there was like one other person that had auditioned, and it was probably,
That's
anyway.
funny.
Yeah, so got that, and then it just kind of started my journey and became known really as like the public service announcement guy of Maine.
Nice.
I did like the no drinking, no drugs, put your seatbelt on, like everything.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And, the infamous was the talking to your parents about sex. That came out my freshman year of high school at a new school.
Oh, man.
Oh, it was brutal. Absolutely brutal.
So
I'm
it's
on the
kinda-
lacrosse team, and there's a video of me that plays during like the Red Sox games of me like, it's weird talking to my parents about sex. Oh, man, ripped on so hard by the seniors.
It reminds me of that clip in, what's it, Spider-Man Homecoming? When they're watching that Captain America, he leans in over the chair. Let me talk to you guys here. Your body's changing. Or
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was like, it was just, I don't know. I kind of just jumped into it, and it was literally all commercials and stuff. I never did theater or anything like that. I did like one play in middle school, but then booked a movie there. It was a horror movie. And did that, and then kind of went off to college in New Hampshire. Did some things. I was like an extra on The Social Network, which was a blast.
Oh,
Got to
nice.
see
Okay.
Jesse Eisenberg and Andrew Garfield and David Fincher work, which was great. And then dropped out of college and moved to Los Angeles.
Ayo, there
and then
it
met
is.
you guys.
The big leap.
There it is.
Literally was like I turned 12, got a commercial, dropped out of college, moved to Los Angeles, met you guys.
Wow.
So that's all you need to know about my early teens.
Wow.
That is cool.
And I remember that audition process, and like I just said moments ago, it was very new to us because I think at that time we hadn't really done a whole lot. I mean, it did some short
We had
film
done
casting.
a little bit of casting in Fresno,
Yeah.
and we just saw people that weren't actors necessarily, but
small
were
pool.
trying to just kind of get in and see, kind of like, because there's not really a huge, there's not like agents and all that kind of stuff. There was one lady who was getting people, kind of like Maine, you know, there's just a small group of people. And
DeVore.
DeVore, yeah, Carolyn helped us
Rest her
a
soul.
lot. Yeah, rest in
Oh,
peace.
really?
Away,
Yeah,
Oh.
she passed away about a year and a half ago, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Anyway, she helped us get some people for this trailer that we shot. But then when we went down to LA to cast the feature, yeah, we were just like, okay, how do we do this? We used the, was it Actors Access?
LA
or
Casting
LA
or something,
Casting,
yeah.
or both of them probably.
You probably remember getting through that service, I would imagine.
I do.
So here's a tip for those of you that are, for any of you that are looking to produce or cast a film, an independent film, one of the places that people go to is casting websites like LA Casting, or
I think it's called Casting Networks now. or
Casting
something.
Networks.
If I'm not mistaken, the one that you guys used was Craigslist.
Yeah,
Is that not?
Hey,
We
we get
just
this
looked
movie. We get this movie we're doing.
We got a movie we're doing. We need a
This
couple
big
young
LA
guys and a couple young girls
This
to be in our
casting
movie.
site, Craigslist. Yeah.
No, if you want to cast actors in your film, you can look for a casting director, and they'll find you some people that might be, a little bit further up the scale.
Or you
But
can just
at the
do it
time-
yourself by putting a posting.
Or do it yourself
Yeah.
the way we did, and the way we have done a lot using Actors Access, and we found a lot of gems through using those websites. Actors Access, and what's the other one? Breakdown Services.
Yep.
They're the
Yep.
same thing.
They're the same.
Those are the same. I think LA,
LA
Casting
Casting.
is now Casting Networks. That one's free for filmmakers to use as far as I remember. But
Yeah, it's a great place to go because I was going to say, we were kind of living almost parallel journeys where I remember you were at NYFA, right?
Yeah.
New York Film Academy. And when I got the audition, I saw your name. And what was the film that you did at the end, your like NYFA thesis?
Cross.
Cross.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
There was some connection.
Oh, because you had been in a film of one of his classmates.
Right, exactly.
That's what it was.
Oh, I'd been in so many student films, NYFA, like American Film Academy, USC, like all of those through breakdowns or whatever it was.
I remember
LA
you
Casting.
telling me that when we met at that audition. You mentioned you knew someone from
And
that.
your
Yeah.
editing and DP skills had already been showing through in Cross.
Right.
And it was so good. And then
It was.
getting an audition, I mean, I had been on so many subpar auditions.
Well, but let's break that down for a minute, though, because a lot of people think mistakenly that they're going to go and they're going to start out. Maybe they'll think they're starting out on the bottom rung of a ladder, but they think that ladder is on a big movie or on a big TV show.
Right.
They don't realize a lot of times that the bottom rung of the ladder is a ladder on an independent film or a student film that will probably never see the light of day.
Right.
And so their hopes can get dashed a little bit by not managing their expectations of where they are actually going to be starting.
Yeah. And I think that you need to have a broader view of everything and know that those are huge learning experiences. I mean, if you're in school shooting a film, the actors that are on that film might as well be in school as well.
Right.
I mean, you're
Yeah.
learning everything at the same time. You can't pick me, 20-year-old kid out of nowhere, Maine, to be in the next Marvel movie. Like I would
Right.
be, oh my God, I would be trampled over on set.
Yeah, I mean, even the youngest player in the Marvel movies, if you're looking at like Tom Holland, he had already done a bunch of stuff. I mean, he was in The Impossible.
And how many screen tests do you think he did on top to verify that he could actually do the things that were being asked of him?
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And so even though he's super young in the Marvel universe, he is an accomplished actor already because he was acting since he was pre-double digits, you
Mhm.
know?
If you could give one piece of advice to people out there in regards to auditions, what would it be? Like, what's the best piece of advice you could give?
Or
for
early
auditions?
on in their career.
Yeah, especially early on in their career.
Well, I would kind of hang on this expectations idea. For auditions, I think that a lot of actors, when they get the initial audition, if you get an audition from a casting director, you are over the moon. It's like the greatest thing, but it's also the most stressful thing that you're ever going to get. And I think immediately our expectations go to what is it that the casting director is expecting to see from me for this role? And I personally think that's a really dangerous thought because you're immediately taking the power away from you and why they brought you in. They're bringing you in to see you and how you're going to be this character. And so instead of trying to formulate this character based on what you think somebody else wants to see, put yourself into the role and say, what do I want to see in this character? And hopefully the casting director's ideas and your ideas line up. But let's be honest, I mean, 80, 90% of the time, they're not going to line up. But it doesn't mean your audition's bad. Yeah. It didn't mean that you did a bad job. It just means that wasn't the one. Yeah. And that's what we do in this industry. It's 90% rejection.
Totally true. I mean, there's so many people we see having cast many things now past the Gallows where we see great auditions, but they're just not a fit for the project. Like we try as best we can to log those people's information, let them know we enjoyed their audition. I mean, it is tough when you're kind of casting things yourself, which we often do, but we really try to like keep tabs on those people that we enjoyed, even if they weren't a fit for that project.
Yeah. You know? And let's say you even get an audition and then you get a callback. You know, people always say, and it drives me crazy, but like take the little wins, you know, like a callback is a great thing.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
That's what we say. Celebrate all wins.
All wins. But then, you know, you don't get the part and then you're like, well, what's a callback? I mean, I didn't get the role, and you just get down on yourself. And that's where I'm saying, like, you gotta have a bigger perspective on the industry and know that something's going to come for you if you continue to try and put your best forward.
It's the persistent nature of people that you have to be persistent. You have to, and managing your expectations will help you get through all the negative that could come your way, that will come your way. And that you, if you sit there and wade and wallow in it, it's just going to mess you up and you'll be out of business.
It's just like anything in life too. I mean, anything that is worth succeeding in, worth trying, it's like, it's going to take time. It's going to take effort. You know, you're going to have to fall down a few times on that bike before you get it down. And it's so easy to just say, screw this and throw the bike away. And I'm just going to stick with my scooter, you know? But if you're going to become a master, you got to keep going, you know? And you
got to get your butt up and get going.
I think acting is interesting too, because it's like, you could have that raw skill or that talent your entire journey, and it just maybe some actors feel like it's going unnoticed, or you know, those opportunities just aren't coming.
Well, here's an interesting thing on that. So you could have all the talent in the world, and you could even get cast in something great. But if you get on set and the camera's over here, and you're saying all your lines over here, and they're getting a profile, your talent's nothing, right? Because you need to know how to interact on the set with the directors, with the producers. Like you need to know
awareness.
It's it's so much bigger than just being able to put on a performance.
It's so true.
It's awareness, guys. You got to have awareness,
especially for film. It's something we talk about all the time. We always praise Tom Cruise, for it, because that guy. Not only is his running game on point, but every shot he's in, he's just got that perfect awareness of what's going on. Yeah.
He's so cinematic. It's kind of like
those actors are.
Knowing exactly where the frame is, knowing where. It's funny. That reminds me of, did you see the thing? This is a side note. Did you see the thing with Ronaldo?
Oh,
with the water and the Coke?
Yeah.
Dude,
Agua.
Yeah. So like Ronaldo, this is crazy. He knows he's been on camera enough to even this amazing football player, you know, world renowned Ronaldo Cristiano. Okay. So he knows exactly where the edge of frame is. Yeah. So it's so funny.
I even watched the wide frame one, and he pushed it even more to get the Coke bottles off.
Yeah, he took the Coke bottles off of this. It was perfectly set up for branding. It was awesome. And he took the Coke bottles and he's like
moved
them all the way out of frame like this and set them down. And it's like he knew exactly where frame was. His camera awareness was brilliant.
And he's a football star, but he's been on so many commercials, and he's such an influence that he knows what goes on set. He's seen these commercials cut together.
Oh yeah,
he knows this coffee cup's gonna be right here. Just
Yeah.
and then it's gone.
Yeah. And so he grabbed the water, he goes, agua. So what happened?
$4 billion lost from
$4
Coca-Cola
billion drop
in Coca-Cola.
in Coca-Cola stock.
But let's also be fair, it's still worth 300 and
Yeah, it's still worth
20
plenty
billion.
still.
They're doing okay.
But
went down to like
what
316.
amazing power
they had to
one
let
guy
They had
has.
to let a few polar bears go from the company.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're not going to be able to retain you.
What amazing power has this one guy, though, who has such camera awareness to be able to do something like that? It's pretty crazy. But
It
we
is
always
crazy.
talk about guys like that know their framing. Tom Cruise, everything's cinematic.
Well, and it just I think a lot of lay people who are just movie fans, casual movie fans or watch content might look at an actor's job and think easy, like they're not doing anything. What are they doing? They're just reading lines. There's so many other aspects to acting that I think just go unnoticed, and that's definitely one of them is camera awareness, knowing your way around set, knowing where to be, where not to be, all those things. It's the same thing as making movies. It's like, oh, just point the camera and shoot. It's like, well, that's only a fraction of the actual filmmaking process.
Yeah.
You've got to market it, you've got to distribute it, you've got the pre-production. I mean, there's so many aspects. It's like running a business,
Yeah.
So I find that pretty interesting that you've kind of tapped into that skill set as well, or that you are at least aware enough of that, because a lot of actors aren't. They just can't hit their marks. They can't,
I know, and I've been on enough projects too to watch others that don't take that as seriously as they should, and it doesn't just harm the production, it harms you as an actor and the way you can market yourself afterwards. Like,
Oh, yeah.
if you're so stoked on this part that you just got, but then half your face isn't on camera, like, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
And you're not helping the people that you're working with either, because they're trying to make something
Which is a
beautiful
perfect
as well.
segue into Gallows, where none of your face is on camera.
It was a little bit. A little bit. No, it reminded me of Mike Wazowski saying, I'm on the cover of a magazine.
The thing covering his
and
face.
it's like the barcode is what's covering his face.
yeah.
And it's like, oh,
That's such a
you think
good
he's going to
scene.
be so mad because he didn't actually get on the cover.
That was a good Billy Crystal.
But it was, thank you. But yeah, it's so true. Being aware is a big thing. For us, we don't have to give as much direction if an actor already knows where things are happening, what their angles are, what the shot is, if it's a wide close-up, extreme close-up, whatever.
I want to bring something up going back to your audition, actually, for the Gallows. Now, Gallows was an interesting thing to audition for, and for us to audition people for, because of the nature of found footage, right? Because of the improvisation, the fact that we were using the characters' names, that we really wanted to have you guys be as real in that environment as possible. The audition process was very much like that too. It was really just a lot of improv. We didn't really give you a character to play. We just kind of gave you a situation and see what you would do with it, What was that experience like for you? What do you recall from that?
Well, I think it's probably a good thing that I was 21 and cocky and was just able to talk about anything. I mean, there was no set anything. I do remember getting the audition, and I'd been on a lot of them, and a lot of them didn't go anywhere, and a lot of them were kind of, I was getting down on myself, and I think the night before I had probably indulged in one too many libations, and the next day I woke up and I'm like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not going. And I think eventually I was just like, you know what? I got to do this. I'm just going to go and see what it's about. And I showed up, and I still remember the place on Lancashire that little playhouse thing.
Yeah.
And you guys just handed me a camera, and I don't think there were lines.
I don't think so.
It was just a situation. We had
You
a
said
couple
this-
situations.
You said, I'm your friend on a train or something.
Yep, the train one.
Bust your buddy's balls for 3 minutes or whatever.
you were coming back from a concert.
Yeah.
And the girl you're with sees something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one we still use
We still
in
use
just
that
about
all the
everything
time,
as
yeah.
just a good indicator of someone's ability to not only act, but to improvise, to be on the fly, and their personality. We
And
get a lot out of
to
it.
get scared, because a lot of stuff we cast for, the people have to be scared,
And that's tough to do.
Yeah.
Props to people that can get scared
Ugh.
on camera. A lot of actors are like, oh, horror movies, whatever. It's like, yeah, because you can't act scared.
Try acting
Try it.
scared. How do you, you know what I mean? Like, try to pretend to be scared when you know that being scared is a surprise event. You know,
Yeah.
you don't.
I would like
expect
to
it.
see how good Meryl Streep is in a horror movie. Probably not that good.
I
Episode
think
3,
she'd
you guys calling people out.
I think she'd be okay.
You know what though? Well, she's a great dramatic actress.
Yeah.
But then you've got people like Toni Collette, who
Also a great dramatic actress.
is amazing as a dramatic actress, but also in horror movies, in comedies, in like everything. Toni Collette she's the total package.
Travis has a thing for Toni
I
Collette.
would love to
Couldn't
work
tell.
with her. No, I would love to work with her. She's amazing. All the movies that you've ever loved, you would be like, oh my gosh, like Toni Collette was in that.
Every movie, everything.
No, but like
I'm a big
Sixth
fan of The
Sense.
Lion King. She's in there somewhere. She
Yeah,
was
yeah,
a,
yeah.
she was
She's
a
in-
meerkat or something.
Look, every movie that she has been in, if you were to watch it or have watched it, you would be like, oh yeah, I remember liking that movie. And it's a lot to do with how great her performances are.
Well, my point too is, there's a lot of magnificent and just so good horror performances
Shelley Duvall.
that just don't get recognized. It feels like,
Yeah.
you know, and they're so good. Like it's like again, acting scared. I feel like it's such a challenge.
I agree.
Well, that's why I think Toni Collette should have got the Oscar nomination at least for
Yeah.
Hereditary. I
Did
don't know if
anyone-
you saw that, but
did
her
anyone-
I don't
performance
watch
was
horror.
great.
Did anyone get
Sorry, I don't watch horror.
Did
pretty
anyone
dark.
get recognized for Get Out? Did anyone win anything for that?
Yeah,
The screenplay did,
Yeah.
the screenplay did. Yeah,
but not the actors, huh?
Jordan Peele did. No, I think Kaluuya got a nomination.
Anyway, I just think that that's cool. But back to the Gallows
I think
audition.
that back on the audition thing, in this specific audition, I think being a little kind of off my game with the previous night, when I got in there, I was able to set aside like the nerves of you guys being like, why don't you just make some lines up for 3 minutes or whatever? And normally when someone says that, you immediately just like,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
like 21-year-old not knowing anything, maybe been to one improv class.
Did it help that we looked like children also?
We were all children. And it didn't matter. It was nice though that you gave me the camera, you know?
Yeah.
Because you guys gave me the camera to
Yep.
turn. You're like, make sure you turn it on yourself. And I
Yep.
think I turned it on myself
Well, I
the whole
think you
time.
said, dude, can I can I talk into the
You-
thing?
you-
That
and
was
and we
your
were
thing,
like,
yeah.
You asked.
Yes.
You asked. And
And
then we were like, we looked at each other
immediately
and
we were like,
"Mhm."
we like this guy for this role already. So
Do I turn it to myself or no?
whatever you want. Would you if you were messing around with the button?
Hell yeah, I would.
And also keep in mind too that I was so young in Los Angeles that this movie, especially the amount of filming time that we did together, really shaped me as an actor. And the way you guys work, you know? So that's why I think that like coming back to Fresno and stuff is for me like homey, because it's where I learned so much of the way I interact with this industry and my acting craft and all that, you know? It
That's
was like
cool, man.
some roots. That's
we learned
cool.
so much together.
We
We
did.
did.
I mean,
like
it was
so much.
4 years, right? 4 years worth of shooting, reshooting, coming
Oh.
back together, ADR. I mean, all
And
the
that's
stuff.
the other thing too that I was going to say before we started this is when people ask, they're like, "Oh, how old were you when you filmed that?" I was like 21 to 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
which era?
Yeah,
which,
like
which,
which one are you talking about? They're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "We shot that like 3 times at least."
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
It's-
that scene where Cassidy, that scene, we filmed that at least 5 times. At least
Yeah.
5 times, because I tested it out. Then I tested it out a second time because we had changed the method, and that's when I hit my head.
You smacked your head right
in
into the wall.
That middle beam there.
We should show that on the for those watching.
If I can find it, I will
Well, I know
definitely
we
show
have
it
it,
because that's
yeah.
pretty funny. The thud is just like,
and you're like,
oh.
he's like,
You just see my body fold like an accordion. It's so good. But then we filmed it with the old actress. We filmed it with Cassidy twice.
Yeah.
Because we changed the makeup
I remember
Yep.
I was in the side room right over here.
Yeah.
when
filmed it
she
with
was
Rebecca
filming.
in the fake trailer.
in the fake
too,
trailer. I mean, so,
Yeah.
but same thing. It's like, what a great playground to learn, though. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
to do and redo scenes and learn just, even just basic stuff about being on set.
Oh,
and
there
how
was so
movies
much
are-
we were able to learn and improve upon in that process.
Totally.
And I think we should consider ourselves very fortunate that we got the opportunity to shoot it once, and you guys did a great job putting together the stuff that whose management or 360 saw or something like that.
Blumhouse, yeah.
But then
to them,
to then go back and be like, well, this is what we screwed up on the first time. Let's redo it here.
Yeah.
And then to do it a third time, you're like, well, we can really improve on it this time.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, and
geez.
we upped a lot of like cool things, like your stunt. Like we got to do your stunt a second time and make it even better.
With Tony.
With the cable pole and like off the ladder.
We
and
got
stuff.
to have you dangling in the attic.
Yep.
Even stronger.
That was
and
when
better.
we did the new line reshoots.
Yeah.
Just we had so much freedom on that it was awesome. We said it, I think, on a previous episode that you hear horror stories of executives, kind of taking creative control and stuff. But I think our movie was just so small that it was just like, just go experiment, go have fun.
The one cool thing about Blumhouse was, and I don't know if it still is, but one fun thing about Blumhouse is at the time he was just willing and allowing all the creativity to be in the hands of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool. It was kind of a compliment from Cooper at Blumhouse as well. We were trying to get him to come up on set for some part of the Gallows, and he was like, "Hey, look, guys, you're victims of your own competence."
That was for the sequel, for Gallows 2.
For the sequel, yeah. And we were like, "Hey, you gonna come up this time?" He's like, "Guys, I got to put out a fire in Georgia on this other thing."
You guys got this.
I think it was Benji or
Yeah.
something.
We
And he's
had
like,
no one from Blumhouse on Gallows 2 the entire time.
at all.
Nice.
360 guys came and visited just for fun, but
It was just for fun, though. So, it was full creative control, which is something that I guess we've been spoiled by a little bit.
I was going to say, now at this point, you're like,
Yeah,
holy
yeah.
smokes, that's not
So,
what
like,
it's always
It's
like.
tough because we've had other gigs that have potentially come up where we needed to. We still had everything we've done. We've actually had full creative control. So if there were a situation where we were doing something with a studio, and there's been a couple of near misses on some things, we were almost up for Are You Afraid of the Dark movie with Paramount Players. That was a great
which we
pitch.
shot a pitch for. If you're watching on YouTube right now, I'll show a clip of it. But we shot this pitch video for that pitch for the project, and no one does that. Like
No one does
Our
it.
manager was like, "Yeah, you guys could like shoot something. No one does that."
And in like 3 days'
Yeah.
time, we thought we had 2 weeks, and then
They moved the
someone
meeting
at
up.
Paramount said,
So
"Hey, we got to move it up." And
So we had like 24 hours to make this thing, and it was awesome.
and then have the meeting. So, but that turned out really great. Great meeting. But
they ended up not making it. They made it into a series, and I don't know what happened with the movie. I don't think they're making the movie.
but we had notes based on the script because they had 2 versions of the script, and our notes were like, "Oh man," they went to a newer version. But we were like, there's a lot of nostalgia from the 90s show in the first one that's left out in the updated version.
Right. Things you can't control.
That's right.
But I knew that suggestion was tough for them because they were trying to get something else going, and that's what we would have done.
Yep.
But we didn't have that control.
Right.
So it's like, well, there's a little bit of a kind of a give and take when you're getting into the upper leagues.
I want to come back to one thing real quick on the audition thing just before we move on to other stuff. But for Gallows, we were, and I kind of touched on this, we were really looking for personalities that could match the characters that we had in our minds for these 4 main people. And I remember you coming in and asking, can I point it to myself? Can I point the camera to myself? And Travis and I looking at each other and thinking like, oh yeah, this is our guy. I actually remember thinking that right away.
Yeah, without even
Nice.
And that doesn't happen very often. Like when you just kind of feel like right away. But it was really because of you, and I feel like it was your personality that just slipped right into this character that we had in our brains. An exaggerated version of you, of course, but it was really a lot of Ryan Shoos. And then you are Ryan Shoos in the movie. My question is, I see a lot of things online where people will be like, oh, so-and-so actors just being themselves. Like they always get cast as themselves. They're never playing anyone different, like Brad Pitt or, Robert Downey Jr. or whatever. They're just like, they're always playing a version of themselves.
Right.
I actually think there is some truth to that, like not to take away from their talent, because I think it actually does require a lot of talent to present that in a confident way on screen. But I actually do think that there are personalities out there that are cast as themselves and have made a huge career off of that. But of course, there's other actors who totally disappear and play just, a huge variety of characters, like Gary Oldman. I have no idea what Gary Oldman's actual personality is like.
That's the one guy. Him and Daniel Day-Lewis are the two guys where you're like,
those two guys.
I'm not sure.
I don't know, but what do you think about that? Like,
well, I think that even these characters that transform, you know, if we're talking like Leo and the Revenant or McConaughey and Dallas Buyers Club or whatever, like they really transform their outer shell, and it's not them anymore.
Yeah.
But it's still them as the personality, and it's still Leo, and it still comes through in the character, I think.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like lose all sight, and I'm like, well, that's not a guy I even recognize anymore. I still think that they are cast for their charisma and their personality and their ability to draw you in and just kind of empathize with what they're going through.
Yeah, and it's just kind of a matter of like how far are they deviating from their natural, you know, inclinations and voices and whatever.
And exactly. So with the character that you guys were looking for in the Gallows, like if we're being completely honest,
Here it comes.
at that time,
Here it comes.
we weren't deviating very far from who I was at the time.
That's what I wanted to hear.
But
You mean, so explain to us what you think the character was supposed to be or meant to be when you say that.
well, I guess he's a toxic male in today's society, like the worst.
Oh,
Just
man.
ruining
Like
high
a high
school
school douchebag.
high school sophomores.
Dude,
lives.
it's so funny.
Yes.
I mean, the energy that you brought to the character, the charisma, just it was the glue that really held the group together. I feel like out of the four, and that is exactly what we were looking for. And I don't think that ensemble would have worked without it.
Right.
You know, you needed that energy.
Well,
to really
the
get
quick
plan
wit,
yeah.
the quick wit, all of the things that. Look, for the guy who was seen the least on camera, you had a big job to do, and I think you did it great.
Well, a friend just said the other day they went and rewatched The Gallows, and they're like, I didn't realize that the first 60 minutes of this movie was just Ryan being Ryan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was 10 years ago.
That's pretty much right. That's
It's not
pretty
me
accurate.
anymore.
That's
Things
pretty
have changed.
accurate.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
I really matured. I found myself through a lot of
Well,
things.
those of you watching on YouTube, I will make sure to show the highlights of the Gallows, the parts where we see Ryan's face. I'll show some clips here of maybe some behind the scenes. We're here with Ryan Shoos, everyone. Just a quick reset. Ryan Shoos, actor. Have you written some stuff too? Are you a writer now? Are you considered a writer?
No.
No?
I mean, small things here and there, nothing.
Have you delved into any producing or any other facets?
Yeah. I've filmed, so I've been DP and stuff like that.
Oh, sweet.
And then my girlfriend and I have a vegan blue cheese business, and we
That's
did an
right.
Indiegogo campaign video that I wrote, produced, and then my buddy edited. And
Where can people go to check that out? Because I know you guys are kind of like getting, into the weeds of really kicking that thing into high gear.
KatonaScreamery.com. Katona's Creamery with a K.
Okay.
And
Well, that's hot stuff, man. The vegan stuff is hot
We're
stuff.
about to take over that section of the world.
Take it over, man.
Yeah, we got a commercial kitchen. We're starting up
That's great.
July 1st, ready to go.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, that was one of the things where I love being behind the camera as well. And I think it's just been a huge asset to me in front of the camera as well to learn how you guys and everybody else like functions.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's another thing that you got a lot of experience on the Gallows too,
Oh, yeah.
honestly.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was 7 of us, right? 4 actors. Richie, who's in studio with us right now, and then Tyler Smith, who is not in with us. He's still with us, but not.
Yeah.
I like looked up.
He's
I
out
don't
on
know
a-
I was going to do it.
He's out on a
No.
flag football field
No.
somewhere.
Yeah, killing it. That
Yeah,
guy's
for
really
sure.
good. But it was just the 7 of us essentially going through
In
this
a big old auditorium
this
at night.
amazing process. Can you speak to what would help actors? Like, how is it that knowing more about the process can help an actor be a better actor?
I think just knowing your specific role for the day. I mean, talking about flag football, it's like a team sport. If you're coming in as an actor, and actually this kind of relates back to the expectation thing. Once again, if you go into a film as an actor and you have all these expectations of how you're going to look on camera, how the camera should be set up to film you, how another actor should be saying their lines. If you're going in with that kind of an expectation and you get in front of the camera, you're not only like harming yourself, you're harming the production, because the people around you, the directors, the DPs, the grips, everybody has their job and they're there to take care of where the camera goes, where the sound's going to be. It's not your job to think about that, you know? You should be on set as an actor willing to kind of open yourself up to the experience that you're living, not I think it should go this way. So let's do it my way.
Yeah.
You're just hurting yourself, you're hurting everybody else around you.
Like a micromanaging actor.
Yep.
Who are you? Be like, get off the set, dude.
We've had a few of those, and it is difficult. It's honestly casting. I mean, we've said it time and time again. Casting is Spielberg's quote, I believe, is 70% of the job. I mean, you cast the right people. Literally, as a director, so many of your worries wash away because you've got easy people to work with. They take notes. They do it the first time, maybe the second time, you know, and it's just like it's so easy. But when you get flack, or you get not even flack, but just like kickback, resistance, you know, things that are just kind of not productive, but the opposite, counterproductive, and it just creates a bad vibe. It wastes time. I mean, just casting, man, as a director.
I think it was when I jumped on for a day on Held.
Yeah.
It was I don't know, a couple months before that I had like consciously taken the step to take any expectations that I got from any project that I was about to do and just drop them, and realize that the reason that I'm on these sets is that I love the process. You know, I don't really care in the end how it's going to turn out. It's not going to help me to think about how am I going to look or how's my performance going to be when this is cut together. Like, you put that trust in the directors and the writers and the editors. But for me, it's just going there and enjoying what I love to do.
It's a great perspective, actually.
Yeah. And so it was actually funny that I had come to that realization. Then you guys asked me to do that, and then came up and shot that. And it's like, this isn't about me today. This is about you guys finishing your film, putting your film together. And what can I do to be of assistance in this? Like, just act like I'm a, C-stand. Put me wherever.
That.
Yeah.
That's great. And for those of you who haven't seen Held, Ryan is in the first 30 seconds of the movie. Like, he's in the first minute or opening scene, but it was the scene that we shot last, actually.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
It was an add-on, actually.
It was an added-on scene.
That sweet
and
car,
we got that sweet car from our buddy Sammy G, and
put me in a leather jacket.
Called Ryan up.
Called me Bobby.
Bobby. That was fun, man, to have you back for that. That was cool.
I like what you said about the actor kind of just being appreciative of the overall experience. I like that. I think a step, even a greater step, is, not necessarily having other people stay in their lane, but also knowing what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
So that you can be out of their way, or you can be, but it takes a certain amount of awareness. Again, it's more of this awareness, but being aware that, hey, grips do this, directors do that, DPs do this. When they say, look over here, I mean, I'm like, what are you, it's like they need to get focused. They
do
need
what
to
they tell you.
There's all these things that are very helpful to make you look good, even stuff that's like, hey, trust me on this. This is going to make you look amazing on camera.
Yeah. Don't trust everyone.
That's a trick. Don't trust everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. Good
I know.
point.
See, there's exceptions to all these rules.
Right. And this is why some actors work constantly with the same directors and producers.
Yeah.
Because they know that whatever I do, they're going to make me look amazing. I'm going to do my best to be amazing for them, but I know it's going to turn out amazing. So that's why some actors are hesitant. Early on, it doesn't matter as much. I think like you're getting your chops by doing early productions. You're trying to see what's going on. Like early student films. You may be like, dude, I was disappointed in like 1,000 of the 1,002 productions that I was on when I was in school or the student films. But then you get those two, and that's where you're like, I know exactly what kind of filmmakers I want to work with, because those guys, they were 2 out of 1,000, but they had attributes and traits that I know are sincere to the art form and true to making a movie. And I think that's something that people have felt with us, at least I hope I have in every sense, that they feel like they know whatever comes out in the movie is the best stuff that could possibly come out in the movie.
Right.
I'm going to butcher the quote, but Fincher said something like, we've got all these people here, all the camera gear, everything. We're only going to be here once. So let's get it right. You know, is the sentiment. So that's why you see him doing 100 takes. You know, it's like, well, no, we're only here once. Like, let's get it the way that I want it. You know,
unless you're shooting the Gallows.
Yeah, unless you're shooting Gallows, you'll get
2 more chances.
at least 2, maybe 3 more chances. So you know, you can mess up. I got going right off of that. What do you look for in a script or a character these days?
When I read a script, I like to be able to see the story. I don't know. There's so many things when you're reading that can turn you off immediately. But I'm also not in the place that I want to just write someone off because there's some part of a script that I don't like or it doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
So I think I'm still very forgiving in that aspect. But I find that once I talk to whoever's shooting, the director, the writer, whoever it is, and they can give me a vision of what they're trying to go for, if I can see that vision and match it to the script, then I'm like, okay, this has a chance of working and being a fun set to be on. But if you're just like stumbling through and you know, you're not able to envision
Things
how
aren't
it's going to
making
come
sense.
together, or you're not shocked.
Yeah. If the person doesn't have a clear vision of what they're trying to accomplish, you can tell immediately.
And sometimes you're sitting there and you're like on page 72 and you're like, how did I even get here?
Yeah.
Who's
talking? And it's frustrating, but at the same time, you know, maybe they have a budget behind them and maybe you just want to jump on board.
That's the thing.
For a paycheck sometimes. Yeah.
I was going to say I think it's smart to forgive some things in the script. Like for us personally, like Travis and I, we don't consider ourselves writers. I mean, there wasn't really a script for Gallows. We never gave you guys a script. We had like an outline,
60-page or like a 25-page treatment
outline, right? Like, so it was all vision. There was nothing there. It was all vision, right? I remember showing you the original trailer. I mean, that's really what got you guys on board, I believe. But I think that
and
Cross too. And movies evolve. They change so much. They go through stages. It's not just the words on the page. And if you think that, you're wrong, because you could have a fantastic script that just dive bombs and just explodes on production, right? Or you could have like a script that just becomes amazing when it's filmed. You get the actors, the director, the edit comes together, and it's just, like there's so many movies that they're writing them while they're filming them. The most recent Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise again. They were just making half of that crap up, like while they were making it. And so, I mean, I think that's smart from a director's standpoint, but I think it's smart for actors to not judge the script too harshly.
Yeah. And the truth is is that a lot of managers with
that's the thing.
Zero vision,
agents,
zero ability to see a vision.
They'll just write it
reading
off.
a script. They'll just be like, I didn't like it, without a conversation with the director.
And then it never gets to the actor who actually is interested in meeting the filmmakers and writing and talking to them, right?
Yeah.
Or the agent or manager that just sends whatever script comes their way to the actor, and then you read it and you're like, whoa.
Why did you send it?
Whoa.
Yeah, you have an open gate agent, or you have a trapdoor moat having shut down drawbridge agent that doesn't let anything through.
And you should read them all, It's like Scorsese says he watches every movie and learns something from everyone, no matter how bad the film is. And you can always learn something from it, but you don't necessarily need to be a part of the whole production.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big time commitment when you're talking about a feature as well. I mean, if you're talking Gallows, it's a life commitment. Let's be honest. It's a life thing. What can in your perspective? I feel like people have different thoughts or opinions on this. Can you study acting? Can you become better? How would you go about doing that if you were to, give advice to someone who's trying to become a better actor?
Yeah. I mean, obviously. You definitely can go to, an acting school, whether it's a theatrical school, or you can find a studio in whatever part of the country you're in. I think it's important to, again, trust the person that's teaching you, because whoever it is, has the ability to put you down a pretty wrong path. But I think if you're cognizant of like who has come out of a certain studio, who studied there, and do you like their work? Do they have a lot of working actors that have gone to their studio or still go to the studio? I think there's plenty of places that you can learn, but then the biggest learning opportunities come again when you get on set. I mean, that's just when it all happens, and you can go and read lines with your friends all day and it'll help you and you'll get more comfortable, but you'd really got to get out there and do it, even if it's setting up, drives me crazy. But the Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff, it's like, I don't personally like doing all that stuff all the time, but I think it's like the repetition of that is just priceless. You can learn so much so quick in Los Angeles, in whole country now. I mean, we're all on camera all the time.
Going off of that, do you recommend people move to LA? Do they take that leap like you did, or can they do it from anywhere now?
It's such a crazy... well, I've been here 11 years now. So, and I came out the day after my 20th birthday. I think I moved to Los Angeles, and what a
lot's changed.
A lot's changed. What a place.
I mean, the new Hollywood isn't Hollywood, right?
I don't even know what the new Hollywood is anymore.
I don't think anyone does.
But I think for me, getting there as a younger guy, it's really easy to, you're walking a thin line and you're really impressionable, and you can either get pulled off by the wrong people, or you can kind of get so overconfident in yourself that you stop learning, you stop listening.
And you push people away.
And then you become a jerk, and you think you know it all, but you're on step 1 of 100, and you're just so, I don't know. Los Angeles it's fun. It's a great place. It's also a very intimidating place. So if you're not confident in what your goals are, then you should take some smaller steps. I know, like, there's Albuquerque, New Mexico. Netflix has a studio going up there.
Yeah.
I don't know how North Carolina's doing right now, but they're good. Atlanta, but also a big market now.
Yeah.
Vancouver, sweet.
Vancouver, they got a lot going on up there.
We got some nice weather in Los Angeles, though.
Yeah, that's true.
But you guys have been doing, everything from up in Fresno, 3-4 hours north of LA. How do you feel that's kind of changed your interaction with the industry?
Well, we're separate but far away. I mean, and that's the pros, and it's also the cons, right? I mean, we are not at the parties. We're not mingling with people every day. We're not seeing people face to face. And I'm talking about producers, executives, actors.
Right.
We're not meeting those people every day like a lot of them are. But we're far enough away that we have all these advantages,
Yeah. It's a little bit, the disadvantage is that movies aren't necessarily made because of how great something is or how creative the person is. A lot of times they're made just because there's buddies that want to just make movies with their friends or the people that they interact with all the time.
It's all about the connections, yeah.
So that's a frustrating thing because we put everything into getting the best movie for whatever situation or circumstance we have.
And usually the most economical way to make it, the best money saving way.
Which you think would be an appealing aspect.
Yes.
But in the industry, it's not. It's actually kind of the opposite. It's like, we got to have this many millions of a budget, and everyone kind of just picks their piece of that pie, and then so what with the outcome, in a lot of cases.
There was this one production house we met with that's produced a lot of movies, a lot of art, like art house movies, all of which have lost money. And we met with them on the basis of making a low budget horror film that would actually make money.
Right.
And when we talked with them, And after the meeting, we heard this other producer that was with us. He said, yeah, he didn't really go for it. I think he thought you guys were fake because he didn't think it was possible to make a movie that cheap.
It says here you're gonna make money.
Yeah, like you're actually gonna
screw
make
with our bottom line.
And it was a little bit condescending in the meeting too, just a little bit. I mean, nice enough folks, but a little bit condescending. But when we heard that, I was like, the guy's not going to give us any. Let's just look up what his portfolio of films are.
I looked it up and did the math, and it was like the last 10 movies that he released, and they're all, movies that you would recognize.
Or in actors you would recognize.
Yeah, big actors. The 10 movies that he had done
most recently,
all added up grosses were still less than the Gallows. All of their grosses added up. And I was like,
well, the Gallows did have a good gross.
There you go.
Well, and we were yet disappointed in the gross of the Gallows. Yet it was by millions higher than his last 10 movies.
Back to that expectations thing.
Yeah. So for us, it's like, well, in reality, I guess the guy just didn't want to make any money on his movies.
Right.
Some of them were more like Oscar bait, Oscar clout type films that lost money, essentially. So it's like, well, if he wants a trophy, that's fine. Go for the trophy, but don't act like you want to make money on a movie. And then
I think there's an element also of like, oh, I'm not going to stoop down to that level to make
that was the condescending.
Yeah, a $500,000 movie or whatever. It's like, but that's what's going to make money. That's what's actually going to make you a profitable movie for once.
But it blows my mind too that one of the reasons that they probably wouldn't is that you're 3 hours away.
Maybe. I mean, that could be too. He seemed disbelieving of Fresno and the ecosystem here that we do have that is great for making stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's weird.
Some people just don't. Well, and here's the thing. I think the new school is different. I think you're going to see a lot more younger, newer people in the industry willing to do whatever and to go for it, and that work hard, that are willing to put in the time, willing to go to the places that are a little bit hotter,
doing unconventional things.
Doing unconventional things. Things like us, like what we did, which was totally unconventional. We're going to see a lot more people doing that, and they're going to be the next generation of creators. They're going to be the next level of storytellers. They are going to upgrade the industry.
Well, and Hollywood doesn't know what they want. They never have. They always find the thing that's like the hot new thing, and then they latch onto it. You know, like Get Out, perfect example we were talking about earlier. It's like no one knew what that movie was. They had no idea how to market it. They were just like, "What is this?" Yeah, we'll release it, but we're really unsure how it's going to go.
Or we're not willing to commit to releasing it. You can go ahead and make it without our blessing, and then we'll test it and see what happens.
And the test screenings are just off the
charts. It's like, oh yeah, we'll totally release that movie. Yeah. It's like, oh, but you weren't willing to risk it.
And then what does it create? A new wave of films that all have social messages and political, like that's the thing. That's what they want. And every meeting you go to after that, they say, oh, we want to do something social like Get Out. And it's like, okay.
And you guys also fell into such a good wave of films with the found footage. Like we were kind of on the tail end of all that, but that's what allowed a low budget to be kind of accepted, right?
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about this with Reg on our last episode. The fact that they sunk the marketing budget that they did into Gallows, it still blows my mind.
Oh,
you know? For a movie that cost, a tenth of their catering budget, on a typical movie, they spend, $1 million+ on that freaking Nirvana trailer,
They spent more. They spent more on the
song was sick though.
It was sick. Thank you, Reg. Thank you again, Reg.
But they spent more like on the press junket day at Hollywood High School than we did the entire movie. I'm sure. I mean, that's just crazy.
All the commercials on like AMC.
Oh, all that
where
stuff.
no one's even watching TV anymore at that point. You're like. Put it on Facebook.
Still on AMC Fear Fest. I celebrate that every year.
Oh, that's right.
I love that.
Yeah.
A couple more questions for you, Ryan, that I'm just curious about. What are some of your favorite performances that you've ever seen on screen, or whether it's film, TV?
Oh boy. Well, I do know that I imitated Leonardo DiCaprio in The Departed for my entire freshman year of college. And it wasn't that it was anything like a great performance or anything. I mean, I was good, and I love The Departed. But I don't know. I was in a very impressionable time in my life, and when someone was cool and kind of had that swag, I like wanted to be him. So I got the hat, I got the cigarettes, I had everything. And Oh boy, Sam Rockwell in so many
I
things.
love Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell's great.
I like George Clooney. I like Jonah Hill. I like Shia LaBeouf. Oh my gosh, Matt Damon.
Any books that you've read that you'd recommend, like that are on acting specifically or filmmaking?
I'm actually reading Matthew McConaughey's book right now,
Oh.
Green Lights.
Nice.
Highly recommended. I'm only halfway through it, but
I love McConaughey. I would check
He's
that
great.
out.
and it's not all acting related either. You know, it's
well, no, he's got a broader perspective on life.
oh my
Yeah.
god,
Yeah.
huge. And the book is great. It's all about, you know, red lights, green lights, yellow lights. Sometimes you're hitting all green lights. Sometimes a yellow light tells you to slow down, rethink. If you hit a red light, maybe you take a right and find another green light. You know,
Mm.
it's like, it's just a great philosophical book about how to
Well, it sounds
keep
like it
moving
would
forward.
sounds like it would help people manage their expectations,
Mm.
like we talked about earlier. You know, it helps you keep a better perspective.
Well, just because something's not working out in life doesn't mean you're doing the wrong thing. It just means that maybe that path isn't ready for you yet, or you're not ready for that path. And
Right.
I think this is what I texted you about before I came here. You had said something on, I think it was your first show or something.
Right. About you don't have to know how, you just got to know that you're going to do it.
Yeah. So if you first figure out what it is you want to do, that's all you really need to do. And have conviction in that. And then don't worry about how it's going to come to you, because it will come,
Yeah.
but you need to be very strong on what it is you want.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just the journey's the journey. And that's the part we're all going to look back and be like, oh, those were such great. Oh, that was so bad. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
you might be at your goal, but the best part was getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the best piece of advice you could give to someone who's, you know, maybe they're doing TikTok, Instagram or something, but they love performing, they want to act in film? What can you tell them?
The basic stuff. Stay positive. Know that if you enjoy putting those things together, that's all we're really here to do, right? Is just enjoy what we're doing. And your goal shouldn't be the fame or the money or, you know, even if it's to get on a TV show. It'll happen eventually, but continue doing what it is you like. And if there's even a small niche of people that enjoys watching those things, it's going to grow
Mm-hmm.
eventually because you're doing what you love and
Yeah.
it's coming out and you're going to continue to learn and grow. And yeah, I just positivity, man.
Well said.
It's all positivity.
Well said.
Can I tell one thing real quick?
Yeah. Go ahead.
When we were doing that press junket for the Gallows, it was the 4 actors that were sitting up on the chairs and all the whoever website would come and interview us.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the first people or second or third people that came up looks to me and goes, Ryan, how was it performing with Matthew McConaughey in that movie Mud? And I gave her this blank look. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, when you performed with Matthew McConaughey in Mud, if you go on my IMDb, the first movie that I had talked about that I did when I was 14 years old in Maine was also called Mud. This lady had just taken a quick glance at my IMDb and thought that I had performed with Matthew when I was 14 years old.
Thought that was the Mud. That's
That
a great movie,
is
by the way.
funny.
I love that
I just
movie.
answered, I go, it was great.
You
And then
great.
she just moved on.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
We did work with an actor on Prey, our jungle movie, Logan Miller, who was the younger version of Matthew McConaughey in Ghosts of Girlfriends Past.
Oh, nice.
Bro, I have a question. You were in something recently with someone that I grew up with.
Oh, really?
I actually recognized her in a cameo on Cobra Kai. I recognized just about all the cameos on Cobra Kai. So Soleil Moonfry.
Oh, yeah.
She
Just in December.
Yeah. So tell me, how was that? Because like she was Punky Brewster to me growing up.
Punky Brewster. She's still.
But she was my age. And I
Oh,
remember,
that's right.
I remember I went
I just always think
to,
you're so young.
yeah, I know. I went to an Angels game, California Angels, and there was one of her co-stars. He was a recurring person on the show, but I got to meet him and we had like
Was Soleil there?
I never got to meet her, but I remember she was just this fun, spunky little girl, Punky Brewster, right? she turned out to grow up to be this super duper hottie, bro. Like
She's gorgeous.
super hot, super
Yeah.
gorgeous,
And super nice.
and super nice.
Yeah. So we shot that. I shot that in December last year.
What was it exactly? What was the title?
Punky Brewster.
It was
a put a ring on it episode.
Oh, okay.
So they did a whole thing on Peacock,
Got it.
8-10 episodes, something like that. And we shot it on Universal, like height of COVID kind of thing. And so everybody was off in their trailers, but it is supposed to be a live audience show. So we had to do full episode run-throughs, which was so much fun. So you have the whole cast, all the crew just going from set to set on the soundstage, from like the kid's bedroom to the bathroom to the, ring shop restaurant where we were.
That's so funny.
And,
Live episode. That's such an interesting experience, I imagine.
well, it would have been crazy if there had been a live audience, but it was COVID, so there
right.
was none. So instead of having bleachers on one side and the sets on the other, they just had sets on both sides and then added in the laughter.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I talked with her for a second, and the rest of the people on the cast were super fun, and we were all in the same trailer area. It was a great experience. I
That
hope
is
I get
cool.
to do that again.
That's
And maybe I
awesome.
can be the reoccurring character that introduces someone else to.
That would
They're
be
still
awesome.
going?
That would be awesome.
I could wrap it full circle with my PSAs from when I was
There you go.
12
Yes.
years old.
There
Yes.
you go.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, Ryan, what's next for you? Anything cool in the works coming up?
Yeah, just did a cool 4 or 5 days on a film with director I can't talk about yet. NDAs and all that.
Ooh.
But it was very
Ooh.
fun.
Mm.
And I was actually gonna wrap him into this somehow, but we've done enough here. But yeah, that's gonna be a very fun movie.
Cool.
I don't know when it'll come out. Who
Is it a
knows?
feature?
Heavy supporting. I got like
I mean, like the
6
film
scenes.
is the film a feature film?
Oh yeah,
okay, sweet.
feature
Nice.
film. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're
action,
kind of one
love
of the
story, drama,
Nice.
Oh.
comedy. It's all wrapped into one.
love it.
Great.
Yeah.
So, what kind of is there a story or a moment or something that is an example of an unlikely story, someone overcoming or whatever that speaks to you that you could share with us?
I got one.
Cool.
My dude Matt Damon.
Okay.
He tells a story. I don't know what podcast or something. It was an interview, and he was talking about when he was in middle school, high school. He and Ben Affleck had went and auditioned for the Dead Poet Society,
Oh, right. Okay.
and they got callbacks and all that. And they thought this was going to be it, and neither of them got the part. Ethan Hawke ended up getting it.
Oh, yeah.
And so they went back home for that summer and, well, as they tell the story, got jobs at this one screen movie theater and were selling tickets to one movie all summer. And it was Dead Poet Society.
Oh,
And
the pain.
The pain and they said people would be walking out crying and crying. And he's like,
So good.
It's so amazing.
Yeah, it's
all
so-
the performances,
And
all
he's-
those boys.
he's just sweeping popcorn.
He's like, so glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, but he just says, I think it's so inspiring because it's such a shows the two spectrums of the industry where if one thing had changed in the audition process that they were looking for or one stroke of luck, he wouldn't have been there serving tickets to Dead Poet Society. He would have been in an Oscar-nominated film, Academy Award-nominated film, and it's just so like, what a lottery
Mhm.
you're in. And
Yeah.
it just lets you know it's like, this is such an industry of chance, but he was never deterred by the fact that he didn't get it because he did get the callbacks. He was up for that, and it just wasn't his time. Just wasn't ready to work out
That's
yet.
Yeah.
the key is the reaction to it. He didn't let it derail him because then
Yeah.
they went on to do
Goodwill Hunting.
Goodwill Hunting, right? Is
Which
that-
also took him 5 years to write,
and that was huge for them. I mean, that launched them, wasn't it?
And they both
Yes.
got to work with Robin Williams
Yeah.
yes, they did.
this time. They didn't get to in
You can go and listen to Matt
Poet
Damon's,
Society, but-
stories. I mean,
I'm sure it's great.
It's such a journey that they're on. And then after Goodwill Hunting, where Matt split off and was kind of taken as this serious actor, and then Ben Affleck got Armageddon, people weren't taking him seriously, and then Daredevil, and kind of, and then
Jiggly.
and then look at how
Geely.
all of a sudden then Ben worked his way back in and is just now
Yeah.
director, actor extraordinaire, the
Huge,
town,
yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't
that's
don't give up.
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. Another reason you should be thankful for every moment.
Yeah.
Every little thing. Don't be angry about the things you don't get, because they help you get on the path to the things that you want to get and that you should get and that you're right for.
Everybody that's ever auditioned for you guys is going to hit you up after this and be like, remember me? Where's my role?
There's plenty of people we do remember that we're like, we just don't have something in the pipeline
I
for
know.
them, but we
Shooting
would love to work with
It's
them.
unfortunately so few and far between that it's tough to fulfill that for everybody.
It should
that we
be more
want.
often. We should be pumping out a couple movies a year, to be honest. We should be. But
This is the year.
there's a lot going on. COVID threw things back, and maybe we'll create a Tremendum Film Fund where we can just kind of still have that control that we like to have to be able to make the movies we want to make.
We're here with Ryan Shoos, everyone. I think we're going to wrap up. This has been a really fun episode, reminiscing the nostalgia of many years of fun working together on The Gallows and also Held. Ryan, it was awesome to have you here, man.
And it's good to catch up and see what you're doing,
Yeah.
how you're staying in the industry, how you're staying positive, and the advice.
Haven't scared me off yet.
Yeah.
Yes. And the advice to those wanting to learn more about the acting avenue that they can take.
Happy to answer any other questions.
Where can people follow you? Where can they find you on social media?
Just my name, Ryan Shoos.
At
Don't
Ryan
do
Shoos.
TikTok. I don't have TikTok.
No TikTok?
No
Not
TikTok.
yet. We got a TikTok star coming in on our next episode.
Excited about that.
He's so funny.
You know who? Yeah.
Very excited about that. Well, all right, guys, we're going to wrap up here. Thank you, Ryan, for showing up.
Cheers,
this was
guys.
awesome.
Yeah.
We're
Great
going to
being
hang
back.
out. We're
Let's
gonna-
hang out. Yeah, let's hang out more often.
Yes.
Let's not just do a podcast.
Don't
to
be
hang out.
strangers.
I'm fine with that.
Thank you,
Can't
guys.
wait.
Thanks for joining us here, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Unlikely Story.